age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
The number 1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big bro, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. I'm back.
this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
The #1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid that you will lose everything. Get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big girl, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. Championship. I'm back.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mobile Legends Discord Tournament Season 7 for the semi-finals. Now, witness the competition as teams from the C, EU, and NA region compete to emerge as the top teams in their respective areas and claim the title of MLDT Regional Champions. Now, today's match for the North American region, we do have Apex Predator versus Avalon Academy, a total best of 3 series. Now, on the cast and desk, we're going to jump straight into the match. It is going to be no other than Master Ram. Master Ram, welcome.
Well, hello. Thank you for having me. I was just about to say welcome.
Yes. Glad to have you in the building. It's been a while. I know you did cast a few other regions for the MLDT, correct?
Yes, I think the last one I casted was EU. Yep.
EU. And do you think like the EU meta might be a little bit different from the ones that we have over here?
Oh, absolutely. The thing with EU is if you look at the bans right now, we're seeing the Kaja, the Angelas, and stuff like that. But over on EU, they would ban out stuff like the Fulvius. The thing with EU players, yes, there is a meta, but they really do their research on what the teams that they're going up against plays, and they do not want the opponents to be comfortable. So they will ban out very uncanny heroes that you would see in NA and you say, oh, okay, well, you're trolling now. But no. So it's definitely, I would say the meta is the same, but in terms of play style and things that they let through in the draft, that is entirely dependent on the teams playing versus each other.
I see. So definitely a lot of target bans. But in North
Yeah.
America, we kind of keep it a little bit, I guess, more consistent in a lot of the roam bans. The Angela gets banned out, the Kaja. And that's kind of self-explanatory. The Kaja has always been one of those great picks. The Joy, which is actually quite interesting. I don't really know why they banned Joy out, but I do know the side of Apex Predator, they do have a person that likes to go Joy mid. Now, I don't know any of their names here. All of them are just new to me. Rem, is there any people in both of these teams that you recognize?
I didn't cure the pain.
Yes, I recognize Ghost. He usually plays jungle. Zuni is very he's the jungler. He plays stuff like the Fanny, the assassins, junglers as well. Actually, that's Zuna, sorry. Zuna is the jungler. He plays the assassin jungles. He's also capable of pulling out some of the tank junglers as well. For the side of AP, I know Carl. He plays both assassin as well as utility junglers. Very good on the Lancelot, the Fredrin, the Mortis, the X-Borg. He's very versatile in terms of his jungle pool. Tonka, if I recall correctly, is their EXP laner. And Baby Legend, very, very good when it comes to that mid lane. He plays the Novaria, which is banned out, the Lilia as well. So he's really, really versatile when it comes to mid lane picks. And if I'm not mistaken, Finn, yep, they're gold laner. So I've seen more of Apex play individually. I would say about 87% of their lineup on my friends list. So yeah, definitely confident in how they're going to perform.
Of course. Now, Valentina does get Purse picked up right here. It's quite the versatile pick. The counter play coming through with the Rithel and the Edith. I kind of like the Edith being picked up so early with the Matilda, the Angela, and also the Kaja being banned out. The Edith is actually one of the stronger flex picks, right? You could run it in the roam or in the XP position. But it seems like the side of Avalon Academy, they do have some counter plays. The Brody, which is quite strong, especially near the early game, should have a very easy time going up against the Rithel, and the Akai with so many junglers still being available. What do you think about the Akai coming out this early?
You should.
Well, the thing with the Akai is that the heavy spin does offer a lot of control in terms of securing those neutral objectives, going in for a gank, or to get a good disengage going. But I think he can potentially be lacking a little bit, especially considering you have something like the Valentina, right? So you could have gotten some additional utility at your team if the enemies were to pick something like the Akai up. But I do like the response coming in from Carl on the Fredrin pick, regardless of if the enemies were to run a hybrid in terms of an assassin jungler that builds some tank items as well, or they go strictly utility. The Fredrin is always going to be a safe response to do that. You can't really invade him. It's hard for you to really burst him down. And if you even consider the fact that something like the Rafaela is still open to be picked up, I think that's just going to be a good securance as well. And right now, AP does have the ability to flex the Rafaela if they do pick it up, right? It could be ran into the mid lane or in that roam position, but I would like to see them potentially run it in the mid lane and then secure something else with a little bit more set potential and pressure in their roam position. But I would definitely do think that that could be an option for them.
Yeah, I do definitely agree. A lot of the times you see other regions, they like to run the Angela and also the Edith on the mid lane. But this time around with the Raph, with the recent buffs, you know, having much more damage, especially when you go in that magic position, it's actually quite good. But now, looking at the draft, Apex, they really have this strong kind of gank potential coming out from the Fredrin and also the Edith. It's pretty much like every single lane, if they go to the XP lane, if they go into that gold lane, if they're just able to land one CC on one of the person, they're gonna be stunned for like 3-4 times, 2 knockups, a flip, and another like petrified taunt. Like that person's going to die. but also the response from Avalon Academy. I feel like the Akai can do quite well in this situation, but I feel like the ultimate takes a little bit too long. He's definitely going to have an advantage when it comes down to retroing the neutral objectives, but there's also a Diggy that's available, and you talked about the Rafaela mid. The Diggy might also be something that Apex might consider here.
See, I wouldn't want them to pick something like the Diggy because the Valentina with the IMU, she can pop that as well. And if you look at AP's comp, they need the crowd control, right? So just giving that time journey up is going to really cost them. And unlike the Diggy, it's kind of hard to burst down the Valentina because she does have that sustainability built into her passive as well. But Baby Legend locking in this Eve, I like it, right? I do think the real world manipulation does a good job, and even if Ghost were to take that up with the IMU, that just leaves leeway for a Rithel to kind of kite around and deal some damage as well. And when you consider the dive potential coming in from Carl as well as Tonka on the Eat It pick, there's just going to be a lot to consider if Ghost were to prio this the Eve pick, sorry. So definitely a good response. I do like that they banned out the Lily. I was actually going to say that that would have been such a perfect mid laner for the side of AP. But you mentioned the Diggy here, UA. It's going to be picked up though for the side of Avalon.
Yeah, this is a little bit of a dangerous situation. The Diggy does quite well against the Eve. Also does quite well against the Fredrin and the Edith. But the Fredrin and Edith, their CC abilities are on a really short cooldown. So they should be able to have the potential to pop that Diggy ult. And if they do get that Diggy ult early enough, they're going to be able to full send it quite well. So even though it's quite a good pick for Avalon, they might just be protecting their own Akai here. Just making sure that this Akai does not have to deal with the Diggy ult. But Apex now hovering over their last pick. You saw Avalon picking up the Esmeralda, so I do think the Dairoth is quite the good response, and it blends well into their comp. But no, I got baited here. They do end up going with the Ruby. Adds a little bit of extra physical damage into the side of Apex. Now, Rem, what do you think about these two comps? Who do you think has the better objective taking, especially on that very first turtle?
I'm going to give it to the side of Apex. I think they have so much crowd control potential, and that's assuming Keep doesn't have the time journey before the fight actually starts. But if you look at their comp, right, the time journey lasts for about 5 seconds. But if you look at the heroes that Apex slotted into their draft composition, there's just so much crowd control. So even if they outlast an entire team fight, once that time journey is popped in, the CC is still going to be coming on top of you. So definitely a good response there. And then locking in the Ruby after the Diggy has been picked, it just shows you that Apex doesn't care about the time journey. They're just going to CC him, bait out his ultimate. They have a lot of people that can bait it out, and then they can fully commit for a team fight. So I think I'm going to give it to Apex.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely right here. The Diggy is actually quite good and quite annoying, but at the same time, if they're able to pop out that Diggy ultimate with the Ruby or the Edith, it's actually it's gonna negate a lot of the CC potential. But guys, welcome to the very first match between Avalon Academy and Apex Predator. This is going to be the MLDT Season 7 semifinals, the best of 3 series between both of these teams. They've done quite well leading up to this point. And once again, on the casting desk, you do have me as your host slash caster and Rem. Any of these lanes you want to talk about?
Yeah, looking at the gold lane in particular, I like to see when you slot in the Diggy pick, you use those bombs to really poke out the gold laner. It really helps you get your own gold lane ahead in the match, especially considering early on, your roamer doesn't really rotate to the top as much from the enemy team, especially when you have something like the Brody who's already aggressive, like we can see being displayed here. Just the power of this 2v1 situation. There's a lot of poke, there's some instant burst damage, and there's not really much that Urethel can do up against it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, there's not really any power duo that can kind of out DPS a Brody and a Diggy early. Diggy already adds a lot of bullying in that lane, and Brody has always been known to be able to just bully anyone around. So Apex is definitely going to have quite a tough lane on the top side in the beginning, but they should be able to look into scale onto that mid. But a little action on mid.
Yep, we're seeing Zumi there looking for the kill, but in the top side, a good heavy spin, pinning 2 members. Unfortunately, there's not enough damage just yet. He is going to fall, and Ruby actually tanking that bomb is going to save Earthel for a little bit, but it only delayed the inevitable, but uninevitably, the Esmeralda also falls in that trade. So a good response coming in from both teams, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad. I feel like Apex definitely got a little bit more of an advantage there. They were able to get that level 4 versus the Esmeralda. He is still only at level 3. He rotated onto that top side, got the kill, but ended up dying for it. So I don't really think it's that worth it. And you can see already Apex in the exact position, making sure that they do get this neutral objective contested.
Yep, we did see Zumi go in there for the harass, but not going to be able to pick anything up here. Now that both teams have gotten their Vomers level 4, actually no, Diggy's still on that level 3 mark. They are rotating to the top side though for the side of Avalon Academy, which is where they want to focus, right? As long as Brody can get out of this dead lane, he's going to be able to fare quite well. But due to the first turtle, as we can see looking at some of the gold here, Aritho already being able to reclaim that gold lead.
Yeah, and one thing that we kind of have to keep in mind, especially for the side of Avalon Academy, is that they're very heavy on that magic damage. But bot side, Esmeralda able to pick up this Edith, a little bit of an overextension coming out from the side of Apex. But once again, I was kind of saying that they really have a lot of magic damage going on in the side of Avalon Academy. If everyone on Apex builds, like let's say a tough boots, they're going to negate a lot of the magic damage and the CC coming out. And they really have to make sure Ghost can scale well. If he's winning his lane, Apex is definitely going to have a tough time. But if they're able to just deny some of the gold from Ghost, they should be able to do quite well mid to late.
And down goes the real world manipulation, but it's not going to be enough to bait out the time journey from the Diggy. Zuna did pick up the RWM with the IMU as well. We are seeing their Priest's Wrath connecting. Out goes the time journey. Down goes the real world manipulation for the side of Avalon Academy. The heavy spin as well, as the Torn Apart Memories is going to find that kill on Carl, taking him off of the board. Zuna still going in with the dashes, with the slashes, with the Terrify. A good flicker, I'm offended, onto the tower is going to shut him down. We are seeing Zuni though coming in with the ultimate there, the Falling Star Moon. Not going to be able to find a kill, but they were able to bait out a flicker in that engage. But overall, I would say that is in favor of Avalon Academy.
Yeah, I feel like Ultra did get a good punish there, but Avalon Academy, they definitely have a little bit of advantage. They don't have the heavy spin coming through, but they should still be able to contest this quite well. Now both sides, they're still looking to get this neutral objective. Bob the Destroyer misses the retribution. Carl is going to be the one that picks it up, but maybe Avalon looking to get for something. Tonka with the knock up here, able to get on to that Kai, but the heavy spin coming out along with the time journey, pushing away Tonka to the very far end as they're able to pick up that very first kill. Apex still on the verge trying to get a couple more, but the Diggy, both the Diggy and the Akai gets away with just a sliver of health here.
You know, I really like the use of the time journey with the heavy spin there, kind of getting the zone potential out and popping that time journey to make sure that they cannot be interrupted while they secure that kill. So really good use of their utilities coming in from the side of Avalon Academy to kind of mitigate the heavy crowd control that Apex Predator is going for.
Oh, no.
Speaking of things that they are going for, they're focusing on Ghost right now. A good stun as well as the armor offended goes down. We are going to see a killing spree into the hands of Ruby, but fair no evil. Falling Star Moon is in the board. The RWM being popped in from Valentina is going to find a kill, and that is going to be both gold laners off the count there.
You know who Zumi reminds me of? Old school Cardi from BTK. Every single time that the side of Avalon is looking to fight, Zumi is up here ready to battle as he's able to pick up the Eve onto the top side. He's just always rotating before the enemy XP, and he's just getting advantages for his team left and right. But on the mid side, they're able to pick up one kill. The time journey does get popped open. Carl might be in a sticky situation. He's able to use that taunt and dash to get out before, man, Avalon onto that top side, picking up another kill for the side of blue.
And yeah, that's just so much pressure, but we are seeing Apex Predator going back in for the fight, and I'm offended was landed. They are going to be able to shut this Brody down. Esmeralda as well, caught between a lot of members. Down goes the RWM as well as the Flicker and a good falling Star Moon to help her escape, but eat it with the Earth Shatter is going to be able to combo that with the Flicker. And that's going to be a response coming in from the side of Apex Predator. And both these teams, T-Way, very hungry for each other. You can see how they're drawing out these team fights.
Yeah, both of these teams are playing actually quite well. The gold lead is just little over 500 gold for the side of Apex, but both teams are actually doing quite well here now. It does seem like topside Finn, just a little bit of an overextension. He did get taken off the board, but the side of Apex is still going to be able to take this neutral objective here.
We are seeing Akai using the heavy spin. An early retry from Carl is going to make him miss that turtle, and it is going to go into the side of Avalon Academy. And speaking of Avalon Academy, up in the top lane, again, the 2v1 situation with the Brody as well as the Diggy pick is just too much for them to handle, man. They were able to secure that tower in the top side, and now they're looking for this mid here, Yue.
Yeah, and I feel like the Diggy going 0-0 and 5, he's definitely creating a lot of problems for the side of Apex. And look at that, they're able to pick up the Riffle right underneath the tower, but Ghost Chunk dangerously low here. But the time journey, a little bit too much, unable to grab up that kill, and they're just getting away with slivers of health just because of that Diggy. The time journey is just too good, and now he's able to buy that book into the magic shoes, has 35% cooldown, looking to build up to 40% with the anti-heal, but mid here.
Yep, we are seeing a real manipulation as well as the heavy spin to pop him out there, but unfortunately tanked a little too much tower shots there. The Primal Wrath was called out, but unfortunately, other than that, they aren't going to be able to pick up any other kills. Diggy did fall in that engage though, so Apex right now trying to fight back, not giving too much up for free, and we can tell that they're trying to capitalize with the number advantage.
Yeah, and quite interesting here, both mid and roams from both teams are doing quite well, and their jungles are actually the ones that are struggling a little bit. But it seems like Carl is AFK here. I'm not sure if they're gonna be asked for a pause because unfortunately we cannot see anything, but hopefully that gets situated before Carl ends up dying here.
But a good I'm offended as well as a real manipulation goes down. We are seeing the time journey as well as some bombs for additional damage going out. The heavy spin onto Carl up against the wall is going to have Esmeralda secure that kill. We are seeing the torn apart memories landing there, but unfortunately not going to be enough damage to secure any kills here. Looking at this Esmeralda there going in with the falling star moon, going to be able to secure that kill up against the Eve. And honestly, as an Odette main, I hate playing against the Esmeralda just because one thing that both those heroes have in common is when they pop those ultimates, they have shield, and Esmeralda just makes that non-existent, right? So I can definitely feel the struggle coming in from Baby Legend. My heart is with you. I sympathize with you.
Yeah, and Zumi's doing actually quite a great job here. 6, 2, and 1, wrecking havoc pretty much throughout every single lane. He's doing pretty much, I would definitely say he's, you know, probably MVP after Zuna and Keep here. He's just rotating really fast. He has that advantage, got the advantage on the bot side, rotates the top side 2-3 times throughout the game. He's definitely, you know, adding a lot of pressure, but the side of Avalon Academy here looking to siege onto this bot side with this Lord.
Yep, we are seeing Brody getting the poke damage out. Down goes the real manipulation from Baby Legend, but look at Akai looking for a flank at the backside. He is able to get that heavy spin on, and I'm offended is going to land as well as an Earth Shatter, but that's going to be a killing spree into the hands of Zumi on the Esmeralda as they can now secure that tower in the bot side. But they're not done. They're looking for the mid lane. They have the number advantage. They have the poke potential, and that's going to be 2 towers off of that Lord Druid.
Yeah, I feel like the side of Apex, when they lost Finn on the top side when he was a little bit overextended, that kind of led, you know, the side of Avalon to kind of snowball. They got that top tower and the neutral objective with the heavy spin, and now they're just kind of getting away with everything. They're able to grab up all the outer towers on the very first Lord. I would say this is definitely good, but the flicker play coming through, able to pick up the Valentina completely. So a small overextension coming out from Zuna, and the fight continues.
Yep, in the mid lane, we do see the flicker being popped out from Zumi on the Esmeralda, as well as the time journey. A good reverse time from the Diggy there to help them secure this disengage, but Carl is not letting them go for free, but so is Akai. Down goes the heavy spin, but Carl is going to be able to escape. A good real-world manipulation with the slows, being able to find that kill. Edith did also land a good Earth Shatter, getting a pop-up there, but essentially going to go in favor of Apex Predator, as they was able to secure 1 kill, and Carl is still left standing, but he's not done. The Appraiser's Wrath does go in to help him secure that kill on to the Diggy.
Yeah, the Appraiser's Wrath, aka the bonk, does quite a lot of damage, especially if Fredrin is a little bit low on the HP, and you can kind of see him chunking that Diggy down. Now Diggy, once again, it's one of those supports that recently we've been really like building into that magic damage, so he can't really get caught, especially by Fredrin. It's just not going to be working out. So, you know, we did see that advantage go to the side of Avalon, but quickly turned as Zuna was the one that first got picked off, and then the rest of the members ended up falling for the side of Avalon. Apex actually still doing quite well, but the second Lord is spawning now, and Avalon looking to pull it to their side, already starting on this objective.
Absolutely, right? And you mentioned Zuna falling there is because he also does have the ability to seal the RWM, and in team fights, that is a huge ultimate for them, right? Speaking of the RWM, Zuna did pop it down as well. We are seeing some focus onto the backline. Finn getting taken quite low there. Edith not gonna land the Earth Shatter. We are seeing Zumi being a good menace, focusing on the backline, but unfortunately Carl is still there getting zoned out. Zuni did find a kill onto the Edith. A good heavy spin is pinning Carl to the wall, but there's not enough damage. He's still in the game, but not for much longer. The time journey has been popped, and that's just going to be Lord in favor of Avalon Academy. And you, before I pass it to you, man, I just want to zoom in on this Esmeralda.
He's so good on the Esmeralda. He was able to zone out like 2-3 members, kill Tonka, walked away free, was able to come back to the Lord, and also the heavy spin coming out from Bob, able to pin Fredrin, making sure that he's quite low. You know, the synergy coming out from Avalon is just a little bit too good right now, a little bit too much for the side of Apex to handle, but side of Apex, they still have a lot of CC, and the Ruby 3, 0, and 5 still doing quite well, but it's gonna be definitely an up road battle here as the Lord marches down at mid.
Yep, we did see a stun coming in there, but there goes the charge from the Lord. A good am offended was popped down. We did see the real world manipulation being popped relatively early, but unfortunately it was a bit too early. Killing spree going into the hands of Brody. Time journey already popped. We are seeing the heavy spin for some zoning. Lord did fall in that engage though, but Zuni's getting taunted under the tower. Did take Carl off of the board, but that's going to be it for the first game of the series, ladies and gentlemen, going in favor of Avalon Academy.
Yeah, Avalon Academy was definitely able to take this victory. 16-12 is going to be the scoreboard. 15 minutes game here. Now the MVP does belong to Ghost. I still think, you know, Zumi did quite well. Yeah, definitely did quite well, but Ghost was able to take the MVP. I feel like it's because he was the only physical damage on the side of Avalon, and if Avalon were able to scale Ghost into that mid late game, if he has that advantage, I definitely thought that Avalon would have prevailed. And take a look at some of these stats, Rem.
Absolutely right. The team fight participation coming in from the side of Avalon Academy, right? That Brody having 75% team fight participation. Let me tell y'all why this happened, right? The early game focus from Keep up there in that gold lane helped him be able to leave his lane early on in the match. And once your ADC is able to actually be present for this team fights, especially since Yue mentioned him being the prime physical damage for the side of Avalon Academy, he was able to be free, deal that damage coming in at 33% as well. So his presence definitely was shown. Gotta give credits to Zumi on the Esmeralda as well. And just the overall synergy and gameplay coming in from Avalon Academy as a whole. So we will see you guys in the next series, but I believe we're going to take a short break before we jump in.
Yes, sir. They can't. Oh, they could still hear me.
Can we do that?
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
The number 1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me, Because I've never lost. Yet you are afraid. Afraid that you will lose everything. Do you ever get scared of losing, Kimmy?
Well, big girl, I think we should cherish the joy and excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory. But I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
Together we will fight. That's the sky.
Welcome back, everyone, to the MLDT Season 7, the best of 3 series between Apex Predator and Avalon Academy. Avalon was able to take care of business, getting that very first game of the series. So Apex right now, it's a do or die position. And on the cast and desk, we do have Master Rem here with me, a famous MLSA staff, now one of my partners in crime. Rem, how you doing?
I am doing great, especially coming off of the momentum from the last game where Avalon Academy is actually living up to the reputation that comes being an academy team, right? To their predator, what's the word? Predecessors or predecessors or something like that. But you know, coming off of the whole Avalon reputation, I think they showed up and they showed out, gave us a very spectacular performance in that debut game there.
Yeah, of course. And honestly, it felt like the Diggy and the Esmeralda was just a little bit too much. Avalon definitely, even if the Esmeralda was not picked, I felt like Zumi just has this like mentality where he just ganks that gold lane early. We saw him gank on the level 3. We saw him gank again, probably around level 7. And he just constantly harasses the gold lane. He makes this 5-man rotation where he cuts that top side into, you know, a play onto, no, he cuts the bot side and plays onto the top side. So definitely Avalon has, you know, quite the rotation in his bag. But Apex, they were pretty much almost able to come back there with a few mistakes coming out from Zuna and also Zuni right there. So I still feel like Apex has this in the bag, hopefully taking us to our very first best of 3 series in MLDT.
Absolutely. And if that is to happen this time around, use the draft to your advantage, right? They struggled against some picks in the last round, so it's okay to, you know, take them off of the board. But I do think one of the reasons why Avalon Academy was able to be so successful in the previous game is by them slotting in the Eve, right? It just left the Esmeralda open as well to counter the pick. So definitely look for something where your mid lane can have a little bit more security, right? Potentially slot in something else, whether that's in your EXP position or your roam position. So really make your mage be able to counter, because the thing is, you can really, when an EXP lane is picked, it usually is only countered for the XP, and that only really matters in terms of the laning phase. But your mage is important from the start of the match to the end of the match. So if your mage is having a difficult time being useful early on, then they're not going to be present for the rest of the match, right? So definitely they can think a little bit like that and keep that in mind when they prio the heroes that they're slotting in.
Yeah, and there's also a matchup difference between the Esmeralda and also the Edith. The Edith doesn't really have as fast of a lane clear as the Esmeralda, and on top of that, Esmeralda can really go for that deep cut and not get too worried about getting clashed on, because he does have a shield movement speed and he has a falling star move to kind of jump through the walls. But on the other hand, the Edith, when he's going into that cut position, he's not going to be able to clear the lanes as fast. He's just not going to have that good of a rotation. So definitely Avalon Academy, they played well in the draft here. So I kind of want to see what Apex is looking for this time around. They do ban out the 2 roamers that did get banned out the very first game, along with a Valentina. And I like the Valentina ban, right? The Valentina did so well last game, taking the real world manipulation when necessary. Most of the time he was taking that, but you know, there was definitely a lot of other ultimates he can take. But on the other hand, Avalon banning out the Joy, the Matilda, and also the Nolan.
Now, this Nolan pick, we've never seen him appear in any of these tournaments, and rightfully so. He's very strong in terms of that jungle, as well as them giving his ultimate a Purify. I do not know what the character creation team was thinking, but they did give an assassin a Purify, as well as, you know, dashes and insane burst damage, balancing, if you will. But speaking of something that has a balanced flexibility, this Edith pick, right? She can be slotted into that EXP lane. She can also be slotted into that roam position. Now, we did see them pick it up in the previous game. It wasn't quite able to get the job done as smoothly, but I will say that is because the Diggy provided so much anti-engage coming in from the side of AP. So if there's no Diggy on the board for them this time around, I think we're actually gonna see that Primal Wrath shine.
Yeah, and I feel like it wasn't that the Edith did not shine. It was just that Zumi was just zooming around the map a little bit too much. He was just, you know, the center of attention, making sure that he was able to zone away 2 to 3 people on neutral objectives here. Now, Avalon did pick up this Arithel and also the Navaria. I love the Navaria pick myself. I feel like it's a very anti-early game pick. It's, you know, it doesn't do well in the early game, but if you're able to scale a little bit into that mid to late game, building up a clock, lightning, or even the book and the magic shoes for cooldowns, you can clear lanes quite well. But the side of Apex got a little surprise here. The Black Dragon comes out along with the Brody, the counterplay to that Arithel on the top side.
Absolutely right. So I actually like the Yuzhang pick, but it's kind of early. I think if they kept a little bit more of the flexibility with the Edith pick, it might have helped them out a little bit more, because now we know, okay, Yuzhang, EXP, okay, Edith, Rome. So now for the side of Avalon Academy, they can really just counter the draft moving forward. Right now, they also need an EXP laner that can go up against Tonka there on the Yuzhang. Something like the Terizla can be good up against it. Something like the Esmeralda, which we saw in the last game. She's pretty balanced now, but we mentioned the Diggy pick and how important of a pick it was. And Avalon Academy is going to pick it up for the second time here, Yue.
Yeah, that is just so extremely annoying. But you know what can counter a Diggy as a support main that played in pretty much all of North American tournaments from back in the days? I feel like a lot of the healers do quite well against Diggy. So Apex, if you're listening right now, Raph, Estes, that's going to be your pick. But on the other hand, though, the Diggy does so well against everyone from Apex's side, right? The Brody, using the torn apart memory, he's able to stack up a little bit and pop that spell, but the Diggy can negate a lot of the stacks. The Yuzhang coming with the Petrified, Diggy, once again, should able to negate all of that. And, you know, the Edith, it's pretty good against the Diggy, but once again, you know, if you're going for like a 1-2 punch, he's going to be in a very bad position, especially when the time journey gets popped and the second skill gets tagged along. Now, second phase of bans coming through. I like the Akai being banned out. They definitely should focus on some of the junglers, but it does take away some of Apex's comp. I feel like they should maybe direct their ban towards the XP lane, making sure Tonka has a good position, because Zumi, you know, left unchecked, he's doing so well in the XP lane. Definitely focus a little bit more, maybe ban out the Terizla or even that Esmeralda that he did quite well last game.
Absolutely right. Another thing I want to point on just a little bit is this Diggy pick, right? If you look at Apex Predator, they set up for crowd control and frontline presence. One thing the Diggy can't really counter is burst damage. So I would suggest for the side of Apex Predator, I think the Farsa is very solid up against the Diggy. You can really bait out that time journey as well as get additional zoning potential, and the damage is there is going to be instant as well. It's also good going up against ganking the Erythro in the early game. We do know Keep is going to be playing towards that back side, and that's where you're going to have Tonka. And personally as well, as a mage player, I love being able to combo the Feathered Airstrike with the Eat It pick. I think it's they work very well together. So that's definitely something that they can go for the side of Apex Predator. But yeah, I want to see them get a little bit more burst damage on the board. Brody's poke damage before he can get that burst on. Tonka with the Yuzhong, that is damage over time as well. So they need to get some burst to really have some damage here.
Yeah, but the side of Avalon here, going with the Martis, I'm not sure if I completely agree. I know Martis can go into that tank position, but it definitely feels like the side of Avalon is lacking a very secure front line. Maybe they're going to add something like a Terizla to pop it off at the end. On the other hand, Apex, they already have such a force on the front side. The Edith and also the Yuzhong paired quite well to just dive deep and get the pick that they're looking for. Baby Legend, instead of going with the Farsa pick, goes with something like a Lunox. And you're talking about burst damage. Lunox definitely has the burst damage to kind of zone away the Diggy in team fights. And also, if the Edith was able to get a pick off early, like a little 1-2 punch, the Lunox can definitely just full send with the full Dark. And Carl now picking up the X-Borg, which does quite well against a lot of the tank jungles. Also, you know, can negate some of the crowd control coming out from Diggy and the Martis, especially using that last Insanity. Bazumi coming through with a little bit of an unconventional pick. The Sandman gets picked up here.
Absolutely right. I do like the Khalid pick. He's a monster since he got buffed. I've went up against it a few times. His early game damage is absolutely insane. His sustainability is insane as well in terms of like the damage that he's able to dish out as well as take. But you guys, before we really get into the technicalities of it all, this is Avalon Empire versus Apex Predator. Avalon does have one kill on their side, and we are going to see if Apex has what it takes to even up this series and take us to a game 3 UA.
Yeah, and you know, with just one kill down on the board, Apex really has to try to find a way to kind of jump back into this game, right? And it, you know, being down one, they definitely have a lot to lose, but I feel like the side of Apex, they definitely have what it takes to be able to go on to that next level here. Little bit of a standard opening. Both junglers looking to start onto that top side, rotating onto the bot, but already some harass on the bot side on this Diggy pick, man. He's just so annoying here.
Absolutely. We're seeing him throw out the bombs from all directions, but I like Avalon Academy right now. They aren't letting the bullying happen for another match. I like that they rotated to help a little bit, but again, there's just so much constant poke and pressure by having this Diggy. Like, look at the bombs here. He's poking the minions, he's giving vision, and he'll poke you out as well if you try to get into his way. But Carl's rotation, starting with the blue, going down to the red, lets him get that level 4 into their gold lane, so they can definitely go in for an engage here.
Wow, what a sprint coming out from Ghost. Able to kind of dodge away the knock-up coming through from that Edith. The Edith definitely has to go back here. A good play coming out from Ghost, but a utility wasted before the very first neutral objective. And on top side, we talked about how Yumi Zumi was doing quite well, but does get first blooded by Tonka here. That's a 1-for-0 on the board for Apex Predator.
Absolutely right, but Apex is still focusing on their gold lane as much as possible. A reverse time did pop him back. Gonna force out that flicker from Finn. But luckily for them, no one's going to fall in that engage. Both teams disengaging, making their way back up to that mid lane as the first neutral objective is already being prioritized by Carl for the side of Avalon Academy.
Yeah, I think, you know, Avalon's definitely going to be losing out on this very first neutral objective. But Bob the Destroyer looking to get a 1-2 go in. But unfortunately, Apex able to take away this very first neutral objective. They're already doing quite well first on the board here. Got the first kill along with the neutral objective. Already a much better opening compared to the very first game.
Absolutely right. And they're playing the comp very slow. They aren't forcing anything. They aren't overextending too much. We're seeing this Edith there providing some vision onto the bot side to potentially cut off the rotations coming in, but also very commendable for Apex Predator taking the safe route, using their map control with the vision before they actually commit to rotation. So very good micro and macros coming in from the side of Avalon yet again. And they're playing it slow, just as they should, right? They're not forcing anything too much. They're waiting for the perfect opportunities here. But Gold Crab is going to be secured for Carl. And look at both these teams. They're just playing around the goal lane.
Yeah, and I do think playing around the goal lane is definitely going to be the win condition for both teams. You could kind of see the positions from both of these teams. They just like crowding around on the boss side. They just really want to make sure both of their marksmen are able to scale into that late game, especially Ghost on this Arithal, which does take some time into scaling. And look at the body coming from Edith. He's just standing in the lane, making sure that these bombs are not hitting Finn, making sure that Brody can just have a better lane compared to the last game here.
Absolutely right. And again, the vision control coming in from Avalon is very smart. We're seeing Zuna clearing out the waves and immediately rotating because, again, in the last game, once they were able to get Ghost out of the lane, he was able to be detrimental for these team fights. We did see the Sandstorm there coming in from Zuni to secure his safety back into the tower, but that is going to be some wasted utility for the second neutral objective.
Yeah, it does look like Keep here is going to get poked out here. Baby Legend flickers forward, able to grab up that kill, but a small punish coming out from that Novaria. It's not really going to be doing too much. Apex already with a 2-0 advantage onto this mid lane. 4 minutes in, about a 3k gold lead as Carl pulls away this turtle. So Bob the Destroyer definitely, I don't think he's going to be able to get it. There's just too many people around here.
Yep, but we are seeing Tonka with the reverse time. Gonna be poked out. The Astral Recall not gonna be able to hit anything. A time journey has been popped. Edith, though, was able to secure that kill. However, Baby Legend finds a kill of his own. Carl gets taken off of the board with Martis, but he's traded right back out. And that's going to be Zuni with a knockup. And again, killing spree going into the hands of Tonka this time around.
Yeah, about a 3k gold lead still maintained for the side of Apex. They have this mid game in the hand, and I feel like it's just due to their draft, right? Tonka is on this Yuzong, and the Black Dragon form was actually quite well. Popped the time journey right away, and they're able to get the retribution, especially with the help of Ultra here. So side of Apex doing quite well mid game. They're definitely looking to scale really good into the late.
Yeah, we are actually seeing a lane swap coming in. We are seeing Tonka going bot lane up against Diggy as well. A good petrify as well as the knockup comes in. The last insanity from Xborg is able to secure that kill, though Martis is quite low. The retreat has been used, but a trade on the top side off camera. But in response, we see the Decimation being able to find a kill. Baby Legend coming in with the Chaos Assault, getting them quite low, but it's not going to be enough to secure a kill. But Carl on the backside, though, he finds a kill onto Bob the Destroyer. The reverse time pulls him back, and that's going to be another jungle trade for Avalon Academy.
Yeah, 9-3 is going to be the scoreboard. 6 minutes in here. Apex got the push onto the top side, rotated to the mid, and Finn is able to pick that up. But Zumi catches him out. The flicker comes through. He's going to be able to get away with the sliver of health. So Apex, you know, instead of the last game where the side of Avalon Academy was getting away with pretty much no HP, this time Apex is the one picking up all these kills and winning all on every single front of these fights.
Oh, the black that was hilarious. But he tried to pop the black dragon to escape there, but unfortunately the reverse time kind of pulled him back into the tower. He saw he was secured, surrounded there, but good try nonetheless. But Avalon Academy might be able to secure this tower in the bot side, getting some of the map objectives into their favor.
Yeah, it feels like the snowball kind of went back in the side of Avalon's favor here. They had the advantage for the side of Apex, but Avalon now able to kind of just take away this neutral objective. Carl is here though, gets the retribution off.
Yep, a good last insanity to immune the reverse time. Tonka being able to pop the time journey, and that's going to be yet another neutral objective into the hands of Apex Predator.
And now Apex picks up the second or the third neutral objective, gets the knock up onto Bob, but unfortunately the 1-2 punch comes through. He's chunked dangerously low. Lunox able to pick up with that chaos form here. It definitely feels like the comp of Apex is just a little bit better than the side of Avalon. Diggy isn't doing as good as it was before, sitting on a whopping 1, 3, and 3 here. Zumi also not doing quite good as he's chunked pretty low on the bot side. Tonka going with the 1 versus 2 situation here, gets away, but top, lots of people going down here.
We are seeing Lunox being able to secure that kill, Edith as well, securing one on the board for themselves. And it's like I mentioned, right? The Diggy can counter CC, but he cannot counter the burst damage. And sliding in that Lunox with the Chaos Assault provides that additional burst damage that Apex Predator was lacking in the previous time around, right? The Yi was a utility mage, but speaking of utility, some being waited out here. Zumi gonna be taken down, killing spree into the hands of this Edith pick. We're seeing Lunox dealing damage with the Chaos Assault, but the Primal Wrath, her range is quite strong. The reverse time did pull her back, but not gonna have enough damage to burst her down, and that fight is going in favor of Apex Predator.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, Ultra is doing quite well even in this game. Last game he was, you know, doing pretty good too on the Ruby. He was like 3-0-2, and now this time around he has a kill pressure tank, the Edith, sitting at a 4-0-6 here. Avalon, you know, struggling quite a bit. They are down about 10 kill and about 6 to 7k gold here. Apex is going to be the one that starts up this very first Lord, and you know, with the Lord coming down here, they're definitely going to have advantages. Hopefully they're able to sweep out this bot lane before this Lord comes down. And, you know, a lot of pressure coming out on the top side. The Raging Sandstorm comes through, but I don't think anything is going to be traded here.
Yeah, he's not really as beneficial as the Esmeralda pick was. We are seeing Zuna there at the Edith popping up that knockup, canceling the recall from the backline. We're seeing Baby Legend force out the time journey. Not going to be able to secure the kill, but it was able to secure a utility. We are going to see Destroyer be destroyed by the last Insanity. The Black Dragon goes in, finds Keep, and he's going to take him down. Yue, there's still a Lord to deal with.
Yeah, with 2 members down for the side of Avalon, they're definitely going to be losing some towers here on the very first Lord, and that's going to be a lot of bad news for the side of Avalon, right? You know, they're able to take the series, but the Flicker play coming through with the instant burst picks up Zuna on this mage, and another kill coming through, but Shutdown coming out, and they're able to trade kills back and forth. The Edith does die along with Zumi here. Now it's going to be a 4-against-3 position here. Apex kind of getting away with everything. They're able to pick up another kill. 4 members left. And for the side of Apex, they're able to secure this second game, pushing us into game 3, Rem.
Absolutely. Really good response coming in from the side of Apex Predator around. I think we can both agree on who got the MVP this time around, UA, because Baby Legend's impact was definitely shown throughout this match here is courtesy to the burst damage that they needed to really shut this Diggy down in that early game. But Yue, take us into the statistics.
Yeah, 20 to 5 is going to be the overall scoreboard. 11 minutes in a dominating performance coming out from the side of Apex. Baby Legend with a whopping 32% damage dealt. You were talking about how they were missing a lot of burst damage, and I think Baby Legend definitely fit in that category. 80% kill participation. He's doing quite well himself. Tonka also going to be the heavy sandbag here. 30% damage taken here, along with dealing, you know, just as much damage as Finn there. So the side of Apex, they're doing, you know, really good with just Tonka and Baby Legend here. Now, guys, we're gonna go on a quick break. We're gonna be right back.
In this age of technology, martial arts has evolved too. I won't rest until I crush the Trinity Syndicate!
The number 1 seed, the champion of the arena. The fans adore me because I've never lost. You are
excitement of each game. Not who won or lost.
That's right. I'll strive for victory, but I won't lose myself in its pursuit. World Championship. I'm back.
Time to drop the beat of the flash.
Your team is banning.
Welcome back, guys. It is going to be match number 3 between Avalon Academy and Apex Predator. We saw an exciting game coming out. Apex was able to bounce back in just 11 minutes here. Once again, this is MLDT, the semifinals. Best of 3 series between these two beautiful teams. The scoreboard is going to be 1-1. So a sudden death match here. The hype is completely real. On the cast and desk, we do have Master Rem here coming from all the way of MLSA here, joining me on the desk here. Rem, what do you have to say about the last 2 matches here?
Definitely even across the board, right? Both these teams have the same game plan in mind, and that is do what it takes to take that game. And Apex Predator actually drafting quite well in response in the last game, right? Slotting in that burst up against Diggy instead of going for utility Richie counters. So definitely smart for them. But looking at the bans this time around, UA, that is going to be a Yuzhong ban. Talk about some respect here.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Avalon, Zumi, he didn't really struggle using that Esmeralda against the Edith, but this time around, he definitely did not find his groove with the Khalid against the Yuzong. And you know what's even more funny? Apex picked up that Yuzong in that very first phase, and you said it was quite the early pick. I definitely agree with myself, but Zumi on that last pick wasn't able to create the impact that he had on the first game. So I definitely feel like that is going to be a turning point. If Avalon wants to win, get Zumi on something he's good with. Maybe bring back the Esmeralda. He probably would have done a little bit better going against that Yuzong in the game too.
Yeah, I think that time around they lacked a lot of backline pressure for the side of Avalon Academy. And again, that's to say the Khalid pick, right? Yes, he could have gotten that job done, but for most of the team fights, he was kind of not present for it. He was either taken off of the board, he had to use the ultimate to disengage. So there were just a lot of things missing in terms of having that cohesiveness that Avalon Academy needed to be successful in these team fights. So this time around, definitely need to focus and make sure Zuni can have an easier time in this game. But again, more respect bans going out from the side of Avalon Academy.
Yeah, and I feel like the respect bans are quite good, especially when you want to just kind of single out and force Apex to play in a specific style. But now with these bans on the table, the Matilda and the Angela, one of them, or maybe both of them, are going to be left open here. Doesn't seem like they're looking to ban out, too many of the roamers this time around. And also the Nolan is left open here. So I feel like Apex bans out the Nolan, trades the Angela for a Matilda, something like that. It works out for both teams. But also Apex, Ultra has been doing so well on a lot of these set tanks that I feel like he should definitely stick to that. But the Matilda gets banned out. Nolan and Angela are going to be on the table. And, if they take Nolan, Apex might just open with the Angela and Edith here.
Absolutely right. We're seeing them hovering over these supports right now for Apex Predator. I do think they are going to potentially slot in the Angela, although I have seen Carl on this floor and pick a few times personally. I don't know if they're gonna prio it in response to the Nolan though. But it's still an option. This is like the first time we've seen Nolan on the board. It's the first time we've seen so many options in terms of supports that can be slotted in. But ultimately, the Angela is going to win because that hard guard just provides so much sustained potential, especially when she locks in the fleeting time. That's going to be a lot of hard guards for the entire duration of the team fight here.
And Tonka opening with a Terizla this time around. We didn't even get to see Terizla being banned or taken away for the game 1 and game 2, and suddenly now Terizla is a high priority for the side of Apex. Maybe they just want a laner that's strong by himself. He could just kind of deal with whoever comes in its way. The side of Avalon hovering over this Esmeralda. I like the choice. He did so well on the Esmeralda in the game 1. So if he's ready to face this Terizla by himself, I feel like that's going to be a good pick. A great lock-in here from the side of Avalon. And the Brody, it's almost like we're seeing a no Brody, no win situation. The Brody won game 1 for the side of Avalon. Now it's winning on the game 2 for the side of Apex. So I definitely feel like this game 3 sudden death, the Brody is going to be a very impactful hero in that gold lane.
Right, but speaking of impactful heroes, up in that mid lane, Baby Legend on one of his comfort picks with the Lilia, very good into the Nolan as well as into the Brody, right? She's also one of those mages that the Esmeralda can't really keep in check, right? Courtesy the black shoes, she has that sustainability, she has the damage, and now she also gets a lot of movement from her passive when she does pop those skills. So she does have some additional mobility as well, which is something that Esme has a hard time with. She's good at countering those immobile heroes, but if you look at what Apex Predator is letting in right now, they have the Terizla. She can't really go for him. He's a chunky boy. He has to sustain. Can't really put too much focus onto the Lilia. She's a menace. She has to sustain. She also has the outplay potential. And on top of that, they just have a hard guard all the time, 24/7. So definitely very solid coming in from Apex Predator. And I like their last ban here, UA.
Yeah, taking out the Diggy is definitely going to be something that Apex kind of has to respect. You know, Avalon, they picked up the Diggy twice already in the last 2 games. Definitely feel like it's like a cheese strategy coming out from Avalon. I don't think it's like one of those picks that is like, it does well against all matchup. It does provide a lot of the magic damage, which a lot of the supports nowadays are, you know, meta to use. But it's also just, you know, a very annoying pick, and banning it out just saves a lot of headache for the side of Apex. And, you know, quite honestly, I feel like the Diggy doesn't do quite well against something like an Angela, where each bomb Angela can kind of just sustain using her first skill. But the side of Apex choosing to go for this carry, it does quite well against the Esmeralda, but I have its doubts going up against a Nolan here.
Yeah, and I think going to touch on to the Diggy a little bit, them banning it out, I wouldn't really say it's for the poke. It's just to make sure that Tonka is able to secure those penalty zones, right? If he lands a penalty zone, Diggy just pops it. It's the same concept as them slotting in something like the Atlas, you know? So I definitely do think that they just want to be able to secure one, his set potential, because that's their only form of actually getting a set right now, and 2, they want Finn to have an easier time in the early phases of the match. He's already going up against the Brody, which is could be a losing lane. Just having the Diggy there constantly, it's just going to make the side of Apex have to play for that gold lane, when really what they would try to do is have him be a little bit more independent so the team can get some overall rotations coming in. So I do think instead of them having to constantly babysit and be stuck and forced into one spot, into one corner for that early to mid game, they're just going to go ahead and take it off of the board so they can have their fun.
Yeah, and I feel like now coming out with this Franco kind of has the same impact as Diggy. He has that bloody hunt that can single out a target that the hard guard is going to be on. So I think it's a good counter. Paired with that Fredrin, it's going to have, you know, quite the impact when it talks about the CC. But look at this comp here. It's an Esmeralda mid lane, potentially. We don't even know who's going where. Bob the Destroyer is on this Fredrin, but Zuna here on a Nolan with Retribution. Is this a mid Nolan here? This is something that's completely unheard of by me.
Oh, this is definitely an interesting comp. I'm flabbergasted. I'm at a loss for words here. You know, I mean, I applaud them for their diversity in terms of drafting, you know. But guys, before we get into that a little bit, this is the third game. We've seen a full best of 3 series. It's even across of the board. It's Apex Predator versus the side of Avalon Academy, and I'm just excited to see how this game is going to go, especially with this Nolan not typically being in that jungle position.
Yeah, and I feel like the Nolan not being in the jungle position, it's gonna pretty much kind of hinder a lot of the magic damage coming out from the side of Avalon here. They don't have a much, you know, a strong mid lane here. Maybe Zuna's definitely gonna show us something quite different here. You can see the little bit of a harass coming out from the Franco, but unfortunately the side of Apex chooses to start on the opposite end. Now here, Apex, they actually quite lack the physical damage. Terizla doesn't really, you know, build up any of the physical damage items here, and Carry also is one of those true damage dealers. So I feel like Apex might struggle a little bit in terms of that, but ooh, a small skirmish.
Yep, we're seeing Zuna already being able to burst Baby Legend quite low, and man, that's just the early game damage that comes out from the Nolan, right? As long as he can continue to put out some of that pressure, things are definitely in favor. And looking at his wave clear, he actually has pretty solid and fast wave clear, and I would have never known that if I didn't see him being played in that mid lane position. He's usually in the jungle position. He has fast jungle clear, and it translates as well into his lane potential. But Apex Predator does have very solid early game in their hands, though we are seeing the flicker being forced out, still going to be immobilized, and that's going to be first blood into the hands of Apex Predator.
Yeah, I disagree with that flicker play. Keep, you know, did hook the Angela, but the second skill was able to lock onto him because of that flicker. And, you know, they just have to watch out for these mid bushes. You just can't be checking them, especially if you don't know where Apex is at. And, you know, Apex, they have the lead once again. They did get that lead in that game too, was able to snowball quite well. So I definitely expect Apex to, you know, secure this early game, especially the neutral objectives here.
Absolutely right. And setting up for it, we're already seeing Carl set up for it. We do see the falling star moon go down. Not going to be able to benefit too much though. Baby Legend spamming the glooms, doesn't have the ultimate just yet.
Oh,
looking at the back line, a 3-man penalty zone is going to be able to secure a lot of high level crowd control. Baby Legend is going to be able to secure that first neutral objective. Angela with the hard guard did lock in. Someone got knocked down. The Esmeralda as Tonka was able to secure that kill. Overall, going in favor of Apex Predator.
Yeah, and Apex, they have the advantage once again here. They did take the advantage on the second game, so I kind of expect them to be able to snowball quite well. Zuna, here, looking to go for a little bit of a damage on the mid side, but is just only going to force Baby Legends back here. He is going to have quite the fast clear, just like you said earlier. But, you know, going this Nolan mid, it hasn't really shown too much yet. He's able to get a little bit of the gold plating here, but once again, he's not going to be able to get too much done here. Some rotation coming on to the top side, but I think Finn's going to be in quite a safe position.
Yeah, and again, even like touching on to the Nolan pick as well, I don't really see Avalon having the best time when it comes to these team fights, especially if it's drawn out. They don't really have like a team fight composition. They have a pick-off composition. They are looking for one. The Iron Hook did miss. We are seeing the Bloody Hunt pop down. Angela with the hard guard though. It's not going to be enough to secure that kill. They're going to force out that flicker. The bonk is not going to boink anyone as it is going to fall short there. But only one person falling in that entire engage. Baby Legend though, zooming past Zuna there. Not much is going to be happening from that though.
Yeah, I don't really think Avalon has the right comp this time around. The only CC that really comes through is going to be the Fredrin and the Franco. But if Keep is able to get like 1 or 2 good hooks, especially early on, he's going to have a lot of impact here. Ultra kind of, you know, playing with the danger position here. Keep trying to get the recall. He doesn't really have the mana to you know, sustain a very long team fight. But one thing that Avalon does have is a very objective focused jungler, and he should be able to get this next neutral objective here.
Yep, we are seeing Zuna being taken quite low. He was able to force out that black shoes with the dragon, with the damage though. But speaking of damage, Turtle is going to go into the hands of Apex Predator on the top side though. Still focusing a lot of pressure. We are seeing a good Iron Hook as well as Bloody Hunt, but the hard guard is going to be able to secure that. A good follow-up penalty zone is going to find that kill onto the Brody, make that a double kill for the side of Apex Predator as they are going to take the jungler off of the board, but they're not done yet. That is a double kill. 3 kills overall as well as a neutral objective and the tower in favor of Apex.
Yeah, 5 minutes in, 6-2 is going to be the scoreboard. A 3k gold lead for the side of Apex here. They're doing quite well in this mid to late game. They're looking for a small dive. The black shoe does get popped out. Finn is definitely going to be able to free push this bot side, but he did get caught in the game 1 here around this time, and he does end up backing out. I think that's going to be a good call, but the mid, Carl, doing some damage. The Vicar penalty zone does come out and hit the Nolan here, but the Petrify coming out from that Fredrin, not really able to get anything done. Apex taking that mid tower here, getting another kill, and the Purify gets popped out by the by the Iron Hook. But you know, the side of Apex still getting away with everything, adding another 2 kills on the scoreboard and another 1k gold lead, adding up to a total of 4 for the side of Apex.
Yep, we are seeing though the pressure on the bot side. Iron Hook not gonna land anything. The enhanced chains is gonna find that pop-up, forcing out that flicker. The power of the glooms though with that burst damage is gonna go in. Speaking of burst damage, Zuna is trying to go in. Another enhanced chains knocks them up. A good Iron Hook stops that skill there from going in, but not enough damage to go ahead and take him out. He is gonna be able to survive in that entire engage, and man, the sustainability coming out from this Angela with the hard guard is gonna pop her out at an uncomfortable position. Zuna is gonna be able to secure that kill onto the jungler for Apex Predator, but a double kill in response coming out from Tonka on this Terizla pick. He's not done though. We are seeing him still going in with the rest of his team. That's going to be killing spree as well as the black shoes into the hands of Baby Legend. Again, Apex Predator being on the top of that entire engage. And sorry, I'm still chuckling over the Angela having to bait her flicker there.
Yeah, their Apex is definitely on top of the food chain here. And I really have to applaud the drafter coming out from Apex, because the sustain of the Lilia, of the Heart Guard into, you know, the iframes coming out from that Julian is just so good. Baby Legend chunk dangerously low. The sustain comes out once again. They just wasted all their spells, and the turtle now 50% health to conceal play, getting popped out. Bloody Hunt coming through on the Angela, but he does not get bursted down. The re-engagement coming out from Apex, able to pick up Keep on this Franco, and you know, they just got every single objective here. They're just, the momentum is just too much to handle for Avalon.
Absolutely, and again, a lot of pressure is being put on the board for Tonka there, right? And again, Avalon Academy not really having a solid mid laner is kind of shooting themselves in their foot there. Julian is going to be able to use some of his mobility to dash out. Angela hovering over with the hard card. It has been popped. He's gonna go in. He's gonna miss the combo though. But the
Punish?
question is, does Avalon have what it takes to burst him down? Unfortunately, they do not hear you in.
Yeah, and I feel like Apex coming in with a 3-man penalty zone and a 3-man knock-up here. Chunk dangerously low. They're able to pick up the Fredrin, but Ghost and Zuna are going to be the 2 members that gets away. The side of Apex snowballing quite heavily onto this mid-game. 15-3 is going to be the overall scoreboard. 9 minutes in, and they're already sitting at a whopping 7k gold. Now, items are going to be on the board, Rem. Anything that you want to touch about here?
I mean, going on to some of the sustainability, right? We are going to see Angela with the flask of the Oasis. Very, very strong item that has been added in for some of these supports here. If we look at some of the defensive items being built in for this side of Avalon Academy, really focusing on to that magic defense. We're seeing 2 radiant armors on the board, but right now, the Lilia, she has the damage, but her main job is to secure some of that utility, right? And then the damage comes afterwards. And that's where Apex Predator really shines here. But speaking of them shining, they are putting some focus onto this bot side pre-Lord fight.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about how that Nolan on the mid side is just not really bursting any of the side of Apex's member down as they get this neutral objective completely uncontested. Keep is able to get a few good positioned, bloody hunts coming through, but unfortunately there's just no damage being followed up. There is damage by Zuna and by the Brody, but there's no burst. Right? There's no Lunox coming in with the Chaos form. There's no Farsa Feather Airstrike. So I feel like, why Avalon is struggling right now is because there's no one that can really follow up on this bloody hook, on this bloody hunt now. For the side of Apex here, looking at this mid side, all the members are coming to collapse here. Keep misses the very first Iron Hook. It might act as a defense mechanism, but it does look like Apex is looking to go in.
Yep, we do see a good flicker penalty zone coming in to put some focus onto the back line and hand strange finding the knockup. We are seeing the hard guard onto this Terizla as well. The bloody hunt is gonna knock him down under the tower. Brody is gonna find that shutdown. Falling Star Moon immobilizes 2 members. Going to find the Angela in that engage. Make that also finding yet another person, and that's going to be a team fight flipped around in favor of Avalon Academy, and also a pretty solid defense.
Yeah, it's a little bit of overextension coming out from Apex. You can see Zumi here botting Baby Legends as he really should. The Falling Star move does come out along with the Purify, and Brody able to take care of that business, gets it with the torn apart memory, and Avalon looking like to snowball back into this game. They're still down 5k, but they definitely opened up the whole entire map here with 2 of the mid towers down.
Absolutely. I think at this point, it would be a good time to disengage. They do have some lanes to focus on, and so minions are crashing down. But again, still a really good defense and capitalization coming in from the side of Avalon Academy, being able to turn that fight around and find some trade-offs where it's due, right? And we mentioned they have damage, but there was no follow-up with the bloody hunts, and we saw it being successfully executed there, courtesy some of the tower shots as well. But gotta give credit where credit is due. Once they are able to actually find the shutdown with that suppression, that's what it takes for them to be able to shut this down. But in the top side, the 2v1 situation, Zuna versus this Julian as well as the Brody, is he gonna be able to sustain? Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to sustain the chains as well as the hammers.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like Zumi's Esmeralda is doing too much compared to the very first game here, sitting at a 1, 4, and 3. Apex is doing quite well in their rotations. They're able to take care of all the business. Franco pulls out with the Iron Hook, gets the little cabbage, but still, it's not going to be, enough here. Zumi is down for this next neutral objective here, and this is going to be the second Lord, and if the side of Avalon is looking to give this away, it might honestly mean that Avalon's gonna give away the whole entire game. They don't have a mid tower, they don't have the bot tower, they almost have nothing left here, Rem.
They also don't have a mage that can burst, that can zone, that can help them defend these towers here. But gonna look at some of the items that has been picked up for the side of Apex Predator carry. Securing that Wind of Nature is gonna put her in a good position for this engage. Terizla being that frontline menace. Mind you, he has so much sustainability with the Angela that he didn't even care to build in the bloodless axe, right? He said, I don't need that. He has his emblem, he has an Angela, he has hard card, he has the flask of the Oasis. They're chilling, they're good to go. And again, that's just courtesy how strong the Angela pick is. And again, going back to the draft, that's where Avalon really shot themselves in the leg. You cannot
Oh my
good
God.
iron hook, but the purify. But UA, this might be it.
Yeah, the Lord is marching down onto this mid side. The flicker penalty zone coming out. Only hits onto that Franco, but it just might be enough. Members of Apex are looking to close out this game. They're target locking onto the base. And Apex, with a complete reverse sweep, takes game 3 of the MLDT semifinals, Rem.
Absolutely beautiful game being played from the side of Apex Predator. Being able to, like you said, have a reverse sweep and take this match on the board. If you look at some of the itemizations there, Tonka securing that MVP, going for the more tanky route. He didn't really care about the sustain. He didn't really care about the damage, as long as he was able to be the frontline presence that his team needed. And he definitely landed the mark and hit the nail on the head with the hammer that he does have there. And if we look at some of the statistics, you can break it down what we kind of saw for this game.
Yeah, Tonka with 82% team fight participation along with 24 damage dealt. It's quite crazy that Apex is able to draft Tonka so early but not get punished for it. Definitely feels like Avalon's draft. Whoever is sitting behind the desk, he really needs to do a little bit more homework. You can't have Zumi picking after Tonka and losing lane like that. I just feel like that's, unacceptable at this level of the tournament. Baby Legend also dealing 32% damage and 65% kill participation. And honestly, Ultra here doing quite well too. 71% team fight participation, along with the hard guard that was just so life-saving throughout the whole entire game. Once again, this is 17 versus 7, a 14 minutes match, a reverse sweep for the side of Apex Predators. Rem, any last words before I close this series out?
I just want to say thank you to all of the viewers. Thank you for the organizers of the MLDT tournament. Thank you, UA, for doing God's work, streaming as well as casting for us. And thank you to the MLDT staff as well for having me and giving me the opportunity to cast for them. It's always a pleasure. And that's it for me. I'll see you guys for the next one.
Yeah, and small shout outs from me. Shout out to MLSA for bringing us all together here. Shout out to Spade and Ghost here, always supporting us in the back of the scenes. But guys, this is going to be it for the MLDT Season 7, the semifinals between Apex Predator and Avalon. We'll see you guys next time. It's your boy UA, and we out.
this age of technology,